And I'm like, well, what happened? How did I get here? And he says, well, he said, you haven't completed the blueprint I have for your life. And Satan interrupted it. And so you were in an accident and, all this. And he said, but I want you to go back because I have a work for you to do on the earth. Hello, this is Betty Cone. And I'd like to tell about an experience I had of going to heaven. This happened in 1971, and I was a senior in high school. And then I was in a bad car accident, and I was unconscious for like 5 days, and in the hospital in ICU, of course. And so when I was in the hospital, in the ICU, even though I was unconscious, I could hear the family, I could hear people talking, I could hear things that were going on in the room. And my brother was talking about, oh, we may have to take her to Oklahoma City. I don't know if she's going to make it. And I was wondering, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it. What's going on? Somebody's had an accident. It took me a while to figure it was me. And then at some point though, and I kept wanting to get up. It's like, I want to get up. I was wanting to get up, say something, try to tell them no, And then next thing, it's like I just guess my head was hurting. And I just suddenly, I thought, I'm getting up. And I just got up. Well, felt great. I was like, wow, I feel great. Everything's fine now. And I'm just gliding, because I'm in my spirit. I'm gliding over here to the vanity, and I see the hairbrush, and I'm thinking, I knew I had dirt in my hair, so I wanted to pick up the brush, and my hand just kept going right through the hairbrush. I couldn't pick it up, because, spirit can't connect with natural things like that. But I didn't know that. I was like, why can't, that is strange. And then I kept looking. I looked in the mirror. I could see myself, but I looked pale, like a spirit would. And I thought, this is odd, but I feel wonderful. And I looked in the mirror, and I could see the reflection of somebody laying in bed behind me. And who is that? And so I glide right over to it, and I'm thinking, could that be me? Looks like me. How can that, it's different seeing yourself like that. So finally I realized, I said, okay, yeah, it is me. Wow. I thought, boy, she doesn't look good. Come on, let's get up. Let's go. I was trying to get her up. 17, I'm not understanding things. The spirit world, I'm not even. So she's not coming. She's not going. Okay, I'm not getting back in that body. I'm going to go on. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm just walking around there. And I thought, well, I just went over to the doorway to look out the hall. And when I did that, I see my grandpa with this train of people behind him. He's going, and he looks older, like he would have later in life before he passed. He's, come on. And this blonde-headed girl, she's there with him. Same thing, saying, come on, come on, let's go. And for some reason, though, I just felt an instant mistrust. It was like, ooh, why would he be with these young people, one thing? And what would my grandpa, why would he be doing this? What if that's really not him? What if I go with him and I can't find my way back? Because you move and glide so easily, it's almost like you can't control it. You can, but it just feels so different. And so I thought, I don't know. I just, no, I'm not following. I'm not going with that. And as soon as I turned back into the room and just said no, it was like my test. I said no to that. Now I can do this. I turned back and the whole room just lit up with the most glorious white, bright light of love. It was like a person, though. I could tell it was a person like God. And it was just glorious, but it was just instantly, and then sucked up just like a vacuum instantly. And I'm going through space. And so it's just the fastest speed I ever felt in my life. Oh my gosh, like a rocket. But yet I'm sealed in something. I call it the heavenly chariot. And I was aware that there was probably an angel with me. I could feel a presence, but I didn't see anything. But I'm seeing the space and everything. It's like, wow, where are we going? And if, it was such a speed that if you had skin, you'd feel like it would peel your skin off. So I get there. I mean, we're going. And it's just amazing. And it seemed like it was real fast, but yet, because of the speed you're going, but it did take a little while. Then when we're approaching heaven, there's all the different colors of the rainbow. First starts with the purple, and the lighter violet, and then blue, and red, and all the different colors into white. And each color, as I pass through it, and then I've read about this too in the Bible, of course, since then, that there is a rainbow around the heaven like that. The heavens as you enter, and also around the throne in heaven. And each one of those colors, though, represents an attribute of his. So I could feel the glory, the majesty, the peace, the love, everything that he is, all the attributes of God. And so it was wonderful. We're going kind of slow through that part. And I thought, wow, like a conditioning before you get to the heaven. And so then I just like stepping off the planet. It's like, okay, here we are, just step off. It's like, just wow, I just step over. And instantly there's my grandpa. This time he's young, just like, in heaven, everybody's young. Nobody's over 30 years old, 33 for sure. That's when how Jesus was. We're not going to be older than that. That's what I believe. So anyway, yes, there's Grandpa, and he's young. And so I said, oh yeah, this is Grandpa. I knew instantly, spirit to spirit. We just communicated, welcome here, everything's good. I've just been here to greet you from crossing from that life over death to this life. And so they're going to show you around. You've got an appointment, everything, And so we just kind of embraced there, and we just a very loving exchange. Then he goes on. And then I look, and there's all these people over here to my left, and there's just a big crowd of them, relatives. And I'm sure, ancestors from way back, great-grandparents and aunts and uncles and everything. And so anyway, I could feel so much love and welcoming from them. They were just such a peace, and everybody's young looking, beautiful, just such a glorious, it's just so much love. And they were expecting me, and they knew me. I knew they knew me. And I thought, I know who they are, but some of these I've never met. Well, anyway, and so then, it's just after that exchange there, and we're just, it was just a great welcoming crowd there. And then all of a sudden, here comes another man. And this was, he looked kind of like Grandpa, because Grandpa was Italian Sicilian, and so the dark skin and the black hair. And this other man, though, he had a beard. And I believe that the Lord showed me that is Abraham, because he would be the one to show you around heaven, because Abraham's bosom was in the upper regions of hell, and God took it up to heaven, paradise. And so he's like the guide of it. And anyway, so he's telling me, he says, he said, just take it all in, just look around, take it all in. And so I was just mesmerized with everything there. Beautiful colors we don't even have here. You can't describe the colors. And everything's just like liquid love, and just bright, vivid, just over, and all your senses are just, whoa, on a level you can't even imagine. Your sight, you can see behind, you can see everywhere at once. You're hearing everything. And then I'm looking over here, and I see these people moving around. It's like there's a lot of things going on. And I'm just so amazed, just like, this is beyond paradise, and I'm just taking all this in. And he tells me, you have an appointment. And then all of a sudden I hear the crowd over here. They're kind of, just kind of, oh, here he comes. They're all just hustling kind of. And I thought, what? And so I look over here to my left, and there's these little rolling hills. And it looked just like the sun had just sat down, just a ball of fire, or just, light rolling, just kind of going very slowly across the hills. And I'm watching this as it just slowly rolls, it seems to be, because there's so much light, And so it's coming around, and then he finally gets up the top, and then he says, now, and then I could see, as the closer he got, that a form is in there, and a face. I said, oh, instantly I knew who that is. That's Jesus Christ. And so anyway, he says, going up to meet him, going up. So I'm going up, and I'm, going so far. And then after I got closer and closer, I just lost strength. I couldn't go any further, couldn't move. And you just really glide. You don't even take steps. You just glide, your spirit. And so then Abraham says, come on, come over here. I want to show you something. He said, I want to give you something. So I go over there to the left, then that's where all these trees are lined up. And these are the trees of life that are on each side of the river of life. And I saw the river too. It was beautiful, glorious, blue, gold mixed, just moving, vibrant, sparkling, looked like diamonds in it, just gorgeous. And I kept wanting to get in there. I think I did go over there and kind of put my foot a little bit, but I was like, I don't know if I want to jump in there. Anyway, so he shows me these fruit trees. He said, you need to take some fruit. And so they're not very big, just like a shrub, but the fruit itself looked like a cross between an apple and a peach, kind of copper color. And he said, just take one. Well, it's so different in heaven. So when I reached, it was so easy to pick it. It's like I didn't think I had it, and I dropped it. And I looked, and it disintegrated before it hit. And then instantly there was a new one on there. And then that's when Abraham, he said, don't worry, you can't mess anything up here. Everything's perfect, So And he says, now take and eat. So I put it in my mouth, and just an explosion of God's glory and his peace and his love and strength came right into me. I mean, I was just, wow. It was just, and the taste was just unreal. Nothing you've ever tasted here. And so he said, now you can go meet him. Okay. Yeah, I could feel it. So I go up, and I had full strength to go all the way up the hill to meet him. And I'm standing there in front of Jesus, just totally mesmerized. And this is, of course, the greatest part of going to heaven, is my encounter there with Jesus. Absolutely, it would be. I mean, he's just everything you ever dreamed or thought of or wanted in your whole life is in him. And he was just, his love just kept overwhelming me. And I'm feeling kind of exposed because I'm knowing, well, I wasn't exactly living for him. I mean, I'm kind of doing my own thing. And so and he just washing away any kind of feeling of shame or anything. He just washing it, just pouring his love out. And so I'm just basking in this. And then I knew he was scanning my life from birth to death, and a lot of things in the future that I didn't know, of course. And some of it's still not, but some of it I did see that has happened. And, but I knew he was just scanning everything, and so it was like, wow, he just X-ray eyes. He's just, taking a scan. And yet, but it was so loving and so much compassion and so much, just such glory coming from him. But it was just everything I ever wanted when I look in his eyes, and those beautiful eyes. Just kind of a green, blue-green, and a little violet tint. And anyway, he's just about 6 foot tall, or maybe a little less, just regular size, just beautiful, just very handsome. Had on like a white robe with a blue sash, and he just kind of brown hair, and it's long. It was just, I don't know, right in here, just his beard. People ask, but it's and kind of bronze colored skin. Anyway, but people say, well, they'd have brown eyes. Well, I saw the natural side and the glory side. At some point, I would see every color in his eyes. So when I'm just, I'm going back there. I'm just basking in this glory. And so it's just like, the first thing he's reading, we just communicate, so what am I doing here? This is heaven. You're here. He says, you can't stay. You need to go back. Really, it wasn't you can't stay. It was you need to go back. And okay, but because he's reading me, he knows I don't want to go back. And then he's telling me, he said, what happened? And I'm like, well, what happened? How did I get here? And he says, well, he said, you haven't completed the blueprint I have for your life. And Satan interrupted it. And so you were an accident and, all this. And he said, but I want you to go back because I have a work for you to do on the earth. And so I'm just thinking, okay, secular job. That's all I could think at that time. But I knew he would, he explained it to me later. He knew. And so then I'm thinking, I'm still resisting. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. Then he shows me my mother and he says, don't you want to go see your mother? And I'm, well, yeah. And then next thing I'm seeing my mother on the earth, and I'm seeing her praying and crying and just upset. And so I just felt that, he wanted me to experience that, what you'd be leaving. And I said, I don't like that. Then the next thing, I'm in a casket. It's like all of a sudden I'm just in a church on the earth in a casket, in a funeral, my own funeral. And I'm looking out through here, seeing all the grief and the pain and tears and friends and family. And I thought, oh. And then the next thing he says, is that what you want? No, I don't want that. He said, that's what it'll be if you don't go back. Okay. Well, it was getting close there to reconsidering. Then finally at the last, then he says, and I just keep moving in, and we're getting closer to the entrance of the city because I could see and there's just solid pearl, the gates around, there's 12 of them, but I could see like 3 of them right there. And this one right behind him, just solid pearl, beautiful. And also the sculpture, the buildings, my gosh, something you've never seen before. Plants and flowers and things that are alive and breathing and moving are built into the structure of the buildings. It's just gorgeous. Most unusual, but just very regal. It's hard to explain. Anyway, so I'm wanting to go, and he's getting closer, he's backing up toward that gate, and I'm just coming moving. He said, no, he said, stop. He put his hand out. He said, stop, don't come any closer. And he drew his foot on the ground. He said, don't come any closer than here. He said, because if you do, you can't go back. And it won't be like you think. And I, whoa, wonder what, and so, what? He said, you'll be over here, standing his left arm in outer darkness. Well, and instantly I'm thinking that's hell. That's what a lot of the scriptures do mean, hell, for that, but not all of them. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't want to chance that. And I looked, because to my right and his left, I'm seeing the entrance look like just like a dark entrance to something. I'm not sure where this is going. And so I thought, oh, I just can't chance that. I don't know. That's unknown. Okay, I better not. Okay, I'll go back. So I made my decision, and he says, he was just very pleased. His whole face just lit up with the most beautiful smile, and I knew he was very pleased. It was like, okay, you made the right decisions, what he's saying. Okay, good. Well, next thing, he told me to share everything that I saw and to write it all down. And I thought he just meant on a sheet of paper, so I scribbled some things and lost, the paper was gone. But later on I realized he meant to write it in a book, which I'm doing still now. And then, he says, I'll see you later. So I come back, same way. I don't remember. It's so funny. I don't remember the trip back as vivid as I do going. It just seemed like it was slower, just kind of a gliding down. And then I do remember, though, the entrance of the hospital, coming into I remember what the top of that hospital roof looked like, coming right in, not the entrance, the roof. And so then coming right down into I think it's the third floor, right to my room. And I'm coming right in there. And I don't know whether I came in through my mouth or if I just sat down in my body, but I came right into my body. And the first thing, because I took that first breath, it tastes just like honeysuckle. It's just kind of interesting, just kind of a real sweet taste. But I could feel, confines in my body instantly. And it was just pain, and, I wasn't very happy for that. Well, but then I still couldn't come out of it. I'm still caught up like into heaven because I'm just still experiencing it. I just can't come out of it. I'm still over in that realm. Well, that was probably shortly before I came out of the coma then. Because then when my dad and my brother are there talking to me, and my dad's trying to get me to drink some water, like as if, when I was a little girl, is your daddy, will you let your daddy be your doctor? Okay, he can be my doctor, and then I start drinking the water. And then I'm waking up. I didn't share anything with he and my brother, one of my brothers. But then later when my mother came, she said, that's all I talked about. I just started talking about, oh, Mother, I went to heaven. I saw Jesus. I saw Grandpa. All the most beautiful colors and the most beautiful flowers, just so beautiful. And this wasn't even the way I talked, at 17. I was just kind of, to talk so she knew something magnificent had happened, because that wasn't even my, oh, just gorgeous. I can't explain it, kept going on and on. When I got out of the hospital, I think I was in the hospital for maybe about 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks, something like that. And then even at home, the colors and everything were so everything was just overwhelming, because it's like that glory was still in my eyes, and it hadn't wore off. And even bright colors, my mother had fixed up my bedroom, put all these curtains with these bright colors and everything, and it was like, oh, it was almost seemed too loud, and it was like it just hurt. And because I didn't know at the time what that was, but later I realized, oh yeah, that glory was still on me. It was taking a while to fade off, and so it's just, I'm still seeing that bright light, and it's affecting everything I see. And then I felt so in another realm. But it took a while. Like I said, I didn't know who I was. I felt like something had been added to me. What is this thing on me? I don't know what to do with it. I could feel something. That was also the situation. But it took, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year to even really just adjust back. Because it is, after being over there, this was such a black and white pale world compared to there. It was like I was just, and I kept going off. It's like I would go into trances. People would be, where you at? Where you at? I couldn't, it was hard to keep my mind on here. Then anyway, so you would think that I would have just started serving God immediately. But I didn't. Because it was in 1971, it was kind of the hippie era, and you want to be cool and like your friends, and so you just kind of kept. I did share it with a few close friends and my mother, and that's about it. I kept it to myself. It was just a very sacred thing that I didn't want people to criticize or think I'm crazy, and they wouldn't understand. And so much of it I didn't even fully understand yet. Putting it together took the process of time. And then really until I came to know the Lord and committed my life to him, could I understand the rest of it and put it together. And of course, he knew that because he knows everything, the future and everything, that I was going to commit my life and start serving him. I finally just committed my life. I got to a place where things weren't working out. I was living by myself, and I was just in my kitchen thinking about it. And all of a sudden, I just heard the Lord's voice very clear, just like he was in the room. He said, "Now, are you finally ready to let me take over your life and ready to surrender your life to me?" And yes. And just everything changed after that. And my husband and I, well, years later, then I married a good Christian man, and we've been married for 33 years, and we've been in ministry for most of our marriage. And so it's been great. And it's just, I mean, thank you, Lord. I say, he gave me that chance. And so I guess that's pretty much it. That's my story of going to heaven.